Hello, welcome to the College Admissions Collaborative Highlighting Engineering and Technology Virtual College Fair. I have a few quick housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenter at any time. Your cameras and microphones are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening. Be sure to sign up for additional ones where you signed up for this one if you haven't already. And this presentation is being recorded. It'll be available within about a week at strivescan.com/cache. I've gotten the housekeeping stuff out of the way. I'm going to get out of the way now and turn it over to our presenter. Once again, thank you very much for joining us.
Great, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. All right, and we should be good to go. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. My name is Bree Baker. I am an admissions counselor at Kettering University, located in Flint, Michigan. For those of you who are not familiar with Kettering, we are a very niche STEM institution. We were actually, before we were Kettering University, we were known as the General Motors Institute, GMI. So anybody who worked in General Motors, they actually went through this program at one point or another. In 1998, we changed our name to Kettering University. We loosened our ties a little bit with GM. However, we still have really deep roots in the automotive industry, but we've branched out outside of that as well. So if you're looking to get into medical, food and beverage, insurance, education, we've had people all over the place. Retail is another big one. So I'm really excited to share a little bit about our institution. And please, if at any point you have questions, don't hesitate to ask that throughout the presentation. We'll keep it pretty casual so I can address those as we go. First slide here. So as I said, Kettering, we are very niche in what we do. As you can see, we only have 9 majors that we provide for students. Mechanical engineering is probably our biggest major. That's about 60% of our student body. We've got computer science in there. That's one of our fastest growing majors. One really cool thing that we've just recently this past year have introduced is our engineering systems major. So what's really great about this is it's a little bit more broad. So we found that in the industry, corporate companies, they're not necessarily looking for just mechanical or just computer engineers, right? They're kind of looking for a well-rounded engineer. So this allows you to explore different disciplines all within a single program, which is pretty neat. We have engineering physics, industrial engineering, management's another really big one. What a lot of people do not know is that we have a pre-med course of study. So if you are interested in going into med school after you get your bachelor's, that is absolutely something that you can pursue here. We are a pretty small institution. We have about 2,300 students with a student faculty ratio of 15:1. Your average class size is going to be about 20 students, so it definitely allows you the opportunity to get to know your classmates really well, kind of form study groups and things like that. Your largest class is you're looking at about 62 students. I know typically professors like to keep that at around 40 students. This is a chemistry lecture for non-chemistry students. And just to put that in perspective, I went to a mid-sized public university, a larger university here in Michigan. My largest class, it was a biology lecture and it had about 350 students in it. And I remember I went to my professor's office hours and then I actually ended up serving him a burger about a week later and he had absolutely no idea who I was. You're not really going to run into that at Kettering. Because of these intimate class sizes, you not only get to know your fellow classmates, but your professors really well too. Makes it really easy if you have any questions to engage with them, meet them at their office hours, email them, ask any questions. Lots of really good opportunities to build that relationship. If you walk away knowing anything about Kettering, know that we are all about that hands-on experience. All of our classes, for the most part, are going to be accompanied with some sort of lab component. So you'll see your average lab size is going to be about 13 students. We're a little bit different too than your average university where you pretty much start with your major right off the bat. We don't have a lot of the same general education requirements as other universities. So if you don't want to take art history, you don't have to take art history. Really, the core classes students will be taking, it's typically calculus, Calc 1 and Calc 2. We have two communication courses in there, economics, chemistry, physics. That's kind of going to be your basis for your core classes. Then you're jumping right into your major. Another key differentiator about Kettering is our co-op program, which I'll get into in a little bit. But we actually have a different academic calendar than other universities. So most places, they go about 16 weeks. They do 2 terms or 2 semesters. Here at Kettering, we're actually a year-round school divided into 4 terms. So we take our student body and divide it into 2 different sections, A section and B section. A section will start their courses in July. They'll be on campus for 3 months. And then come October, they actually start a paid co-op experience. In January, they go back to school. And then in April, they're back at their co-op. B section is the exact opposite. Our freshman B section students, they have the potential to actually start a paid co-op before they even step foot in the classroom. Their first co-op or their first school term will be in October. They'll be back at their co-op in January and then back at school in April. Some B section students as a freshman, they may opt to take a little bit of a longer summer, kind of a last hurrah for vacations and closing up summer jobs and things like that. So they would just start school in October and their first co-op term would be in January. So basically what you do is you take this, you're flip-flopping through school and your co-op for about 4.5 years. And the big reason why we did this, again, it goes back to our GMI days, is that we found that rigorous academics and hands-on relevant work experience is really what makes students successful when they go into the corporate world, right? So if you ask any person in any field, where'd you learn the most about your job? They would probably tell you on the job. So you wouldn't, if you wanted to play soccer for the first time, you wouldn't just read Soccer for Dummies and be like, yep, I'm good to go and play your first game, right? You'd probably read Soccer for Dummies, but then you go to practice and you get to know your teammates and run drills and things like that. That's exactly how we view education here at Kettering. So all of our students in every major, they are required to do at least 5 terms of a paid co-op to graduate. It's actually built in where students, when they start their freshman year, can get anywhere between 7 and 9 paid terms. So again, that's 3 months per term. You're looking at about 6 months per year. So that comes out to about 2.5 years of paid professional experience before you even graduate from college. That's going to be about 2 more years of experience than anybody else graduating from another college with your degree. What's really great about this, we're partners with over 400 employers, so we really did branch out outside of GM. A lot of them are located in Southeast Michigan, but you're definitely not limited to that area. We've had people over on the west side of the state, Ohio, Chicago, New York, California, South Carolina, a lot of different opportunities to get involved there. And one of the best things is that this co-op is paid. So the money you make is yours to spend however you'd like. Students usually make about $15.50 an hour, and it typically goes up about $1 every year that you stay with a company. Now, with that being said, it does depend on the company. I've heard as much as $23 an hour as a freshman. I think the most I've ever heard, and take it with a grain of salt, was $32 an hour, but it was out in California where the cost of living is a lot higher. But definitely in Michigan, $15.50, that is a very great wage, especially as a college student just getting started. And like I said, that money's yours to spend how you like. If you want to buy a used fire truck, refurbish it, sell it, and buy another used fire truck like one student did, by all means, you can do that. That's a true story. And I'm pretty sure he's the reason why students are allowed 4 parking spots on campus. But we recommend taking that money and putting it back towards tuition. So you can start paying for that while you're in school and you graduate with less student debt, right? And nobody wants to deal with that. So it's a really good opportunity to kind of get ahead of the curve and ahead of your peers in that aspect. So as far as the co-op, like I said, we have over 400 partners. These are some of the employers that we have listed here, definitely not limited to these particular corporations. They are getting really competitive too, not just with pay, but with other benefits that they offer. So some may provide housing, they may provide housing stipends, they may provide travel stipends. I know some of our local companies, they're a little bit smaller, but they're the products that they make are in your everyday use objects. They may allow you to start your 401k as early as your freshman year, which, at 16, 17 years old may not sound like a big deal, but when you're retiring as a millionaire, you're going to be really happy that you had that opportunity. So we don't just automatically place students in these co-ops. It is kind of like any other job search. So what happens is you are actually paired with a co-op manager based on territory, really. In this particular co-op manager, they help you with resume writing, interview skills, how to navigate the employment fair, which we host 3 of those throughout the year, usually in March, August, and October. But they really prep you for this process, right? So at the employment fair, you come dressed to impress, you bring 20 to 30 copies of your resume, and you're introducing yourself to employers pretty much all morning long. Some of those employers will host interviews later that afternoon. Some will go back to their offices, take the resumes that they received, and then contact students directly that they would like to interview and then ultimately hire. Another way that students secure their co-ops is through co-op manager referrals. So we have companies who reach out to us and they'll say, hey, I'm looking for an electrical engineering student, A section, who do you have? We'll take those resumes and we'll send them out to the employer to look through and then contact the student directly. We also have a number of job postings through what we call Kettering Connect that you can apply for. Also, if you have a connection with a company, maybe you have a family member or a family friend that works somewhere and you're interested in doing what they're doing, you can talk to them. If they want to bring you on, they would just talk with your co-op manager, make sure that everyone's needs are being met. And then you can do that as your co-op, which is pretty awesome. So really great work experience. This isn't just you getting coffee and making copies for people either, it's you doing relevant work. So just as an example, I had an industrial engineering student who was working at a glass company in Toledo, Ohio. So they make windshields for vehicles. And I went to her end of term presentation and she's like, yeah, I found that we actually, we've been stacking these windshields 4 high, but using this mathematical equation, I found that if we added so many inches to the base, we would go from stacking 4 windshields to 12. And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Actual words out of her mouth were, thank God for Calc 4. So math is super important. Keep challenging yourself in math. And she goes on to her next slide and she's like, yeah, my last project, I found that, we were working this, we had this assembly line going on. And I found if we removed one person from the line and gave them a different job, and move this piece of equipment from this side over to the other side, this company would save $50,000 a month. And when she said that, the room went silent and I saw her manager's eyeballs get about this big. $50,000 a month, that's crazy. And she was a junior, right? So my bet is that manager was on the phone talking to everybody he could saying, how do we implement this today? I would also bet that she has a job by the time she graduates from Kettering. If not, by the time she walks across that stage, she'll definitely be in good hands. So that's really what this is all about, is preparing you for that real world job, to get that beginner level work out of the way. You're ready for these intermediate level positions. Hopefully it's a really good fit from the beginning, and then you'd get hired and go on from there. If you decide to look elsewhere for a job, you're going to be put at the top of anybody's hiring list because of your experience. So because you're ready for that intermediate level position, you're ready for intermediate level pay. So Kettering graduate average salary, as you can see, is about $85,000 per year, which is a pretty healthy way to start off, if you ask me. And then we have been ranked #1 nationally for career preparation by the Wall Street Journal. Because of these experiences, our students, they go in confident, knowing that this is what they want to do. This is what they're passionate about. So you've been doing it from the time you were 18, from the time you started, you're ready to go. So that's like pretty much our co-op in a nutshell. It's a really great opportunity. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to throw them in the Q&A. But I do want to talk a little bit too about campus life, right? So I know it may sound like all these students do is work and go to school, but that's not the case. We do have a very engaged student body. All of our first year students are required to live in Thompson Hall for their first 2 academic terms. What's really nice is you get your own room. So it comes furnished with the picture in the middle that you see there. You get a desk, some drawers, you get that bed frame, your mattress, you have your own closet, and you have your own mini refrigerator, freezer, microwave unit. So you don't have to worry about anyone taking your food, which is nice. You do have a suite mate who there is a sliding door in the middle. So if you get along really well, you can open it up. You could bunk your beds in one room and have a living room space in the other if you wanted. If not, no big deal. You can shut it, lock it, and you don't have to worry about it. Greek life is really big on campus. If you are interested in joining a fraternity or sorority, that's about 45% of our student body is involved in Greek life. Not only is that a good opportunity to get involved socially and network and make friends, but if you want to get involved in your community, if you want to be a mentor or you want to be, a mentee to somebody, there's lots of opportunities to do that. A lot of the Greek life organizations, you have to maintain a certain GPA to be in good standing, and you have required study hours. So it's kind of nice. You can find a niche, maybe outside of a class, maybe an upperclassman with a little bit more expertise in your major that you can connect with and get advice from, which is pretty cool. Excuse me. So because of our schedule, we do go year round. We can't really do collegiate sports. However, intramural sports are really big on our campus. We have over 15 that you can participate in. So you can continue playing soccer, tennis, volleyball. Maybe you want to try your hand at inner tube water polo. You absolutely could do that here. We also have over 60 student organizations on campus, ranging from professional to more leisurely. So if you want to join Model UN or the National Society of Black Engineers, Society of Women Engineers, lots of opportunities to do that. Every club gets their own budget. So the professional organizations will use that to go to different conferences and professional development, things like that, maybe a competition. More leisurely, rock wall climbing, we've got physics club, we've got grill club, cornhole club. They use their budget to buy Jimmy John's and steaks to grill, which is cool. So lots of different ways that you can get involved on campus. One of the biggest organizations is actually the Society of Automotive Engineers. So it is so big, we actually have a garage dedicated to students that is open 24/7. So it doesn't matter what major you're in, or what profession you want to pursue. If you want to get involved in SAE, you absolutely can do that. We were one of 8 schools to participate in the Auto Drive Challenge. So we had 3 years to take a Chevy Bolt and make it completely autonomous. I think it was like a level 3 or 4 autonomous vehicle. So you're taking the hands off, it's making left-hand turns and stops all by itself, which is a pretty cool opportunity. We also have the Formula One racing, Baja racing, the Aero Design Challenge, and then the Clean Snowmobile Challenge is another really cool opportunity. So anyone from any major can get involved in that. Another recent development on campus is esports. If you are big into video gaming, this could be a really good opportunity for you. They are looking to recruit. You can see some of the games that they have teams for: League of Legends, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, and Super Smash Bros, which is a big campus favorite. But that is definitely something that you can pursue here, and definitely have a lot of success there. They've been doing really good out the gate for their very first year. So we're excited to see that in place. A little bit more about our campus. So we actually have our own proving grounds right here on Kettering's campus that is accessible to faculty, staff, and current students. So that's where the auto drive challenge, which you see in the middle again here, that's where they do a lot of their practice driving. We actually rent it out to neighboring corporations so they can do some of their practice testing too. I know CNX Motion, they've been really big in autonomous vehicle development, especially for larger vehicles. They're right down the road in Grand Blanc. They've done a lot of their testing there, which is cool. If you are involved in robotics, this could be a great fit for you. Robotics, especially FIRST Robotics, is really big in Michigan in general, but about a third of our student body was involved in FIRST Robotics in high school. We host a lot of different competitions right on campus. So you can continue to mentor. We actually house, I believe, 8 different teams right on campus. If you want to continue and be a mentor, if you want to volunteer for those events, you can certainly do that. We also own Atwood Stadium, which is a great historical landmark. Even though we don't have a football team, we have a great football field. So lots of really great events happen there, from graduation, intramural sports. We host concerts and different festivals there, especially in the summer. And the Flint City Bucks, they're a minor league soccer team. That's actually their home field, and Kettering students get free tickets to that. So kind of fun thing to do, just a little bit, take out of your daily routine. You can go catch a Bucks game, which is fun. So we are just about ready to open up campus tours, which is exciting for admitted students. But any student that were to come on campus right now would notice a lot of construction happening in the middle. We're in the process of building the Learning Commons here at Kettering. This is going to be a really great building. A lot of cool advanced technology is going in there, as far as tinting windows and smart boards. And new labs that are going in there as well. So this will be a new space that it's slated to be done, I believe, in the summer of 2022. So you have the ability to actually access this building, but it'll be home to a new cafeteria, additional classroom and labs, some lecture spaces, and just really cool additional dining options and hangout spots where students can collaborate together and run their ideas by each other, which we're excited about. So again, we are located in Flint, Michigan, right there, as you can see. Flint is really, it's really a beautiful city. There's really a lot going on that's not always noticed, especially at the national level. So Flint City, we are where Buick and Chevrolet got their start. So automotive is in our blood once again. Downtown has really developed and is really flourishing as far as restaurants and like coffee shops and entertainment, different things like that. The Capitol Theater is right downtown. They'll do plays, movies, concerts, things of that nature, which is always really fun. The Flint Farmers Market has won multiple awards, really great. They're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. They have some of the best food options. I dream about the chicken shawarma from the Flint Farmers Market about twice a week. So really cool spot there. If you're into running or cross country or running marathons, the Crim Festival of Races is really neat. They hold a series of different 5Ks and marathons and things like that throughout the year. And then, of course, the Back to Bricks, that's a really big thing in Michigan, especially in Detroit, where people take their classic cars and they'll cruise down Saginaw Road, which is right downtown. So that's a really cool event. We're about 60 miles from Detroit too. So if you wanted to catch a football or baseball game, basketball, hockey, anything like that, it's really not too far at all. Detroit too has a lot of really great dining options, and Flint also does have an airport, so you don't have to fly into Detroit and hope for a ride. The Flint airport, it's about a 5-minute drive to Kettering, so if you did need to fly in, that wouldn't be a problem at all. We could definitely arrange that. So moving on a little bit about admissions requirements, if you're like, this sounds really great, what's my next step? Our application is free, whether you use the Kettering application or the common application. We do not have a preference, whichever one you prefer works for us. We do look at applications holistically. So that means we're not just looking at your GPA, right? We're looking at the rigor of your classes. We especially look at your math and science courses. We're looking at your extracurricular activities, what you've been involved with, volunteering, jobs you may have had. We're looking at everything, the application as a whole. But as far as high school transcripts, what we're looking for is 2 years of algebra, a year of geometry, and a semester of trigonometry. If you've taken Algebra 2 with a trig component, you're probably all set there. But like I said, strongly recommend challenging yourself in as much math and science as you can. Really, regardless if you're applying at Kettering or in any STEM program in general, math is going to be your biggest focus. So if you do have the opportunity to take pre-calc, Calc 1 or Calc 2, highly recommend it. We need 2 lab sciences. One must be chemistry or physics. Typically, the other is biology if you don't already have those 2. And then we need 3 years of English, right? So the average GPA, again, this is just an average, is that 3.69. Merit scholarships really start, if you have at least a 3.0 GPA, merit scholarships will start coming into play there. We also do have an honors program. That is something that you are nominated for by your admissions counselor. I think the average GPA for that is usually about a 4.2 GPA that you can be nominated for honors. So just something to keep in mind if that's something of interest for you. As far as ACT and SAT scores, we have gone test optional for the graduating classes of 2021 and 2022. If you do not have test scores, that is no problem. It will not hinder your application in any way. But if you have them and you feel like they will benefit your application, you are certainly more than welcome to include those if you would like. Submitting test scores can only help you, they cannot hurt you. If you do decide to apply with test scores, we do super score. So if you've taken it multiple times, we'll take your best score in each category and combine it for a new score, which is pretty great. So if you do want to do that, that's also something to keep in mind. As far as the actual application, we do require an essay. It's about 500 words. Don't sweat it too much. It's more an opportunity for us to get to know you a little bit more. But with that being said, do make sure that you proofread it and that you have somebody else look over what you've written. It's always nice to have a fresh pair of eyes on that. Letters of recommendation, of course, you're always more than welcome to include those if you'd like. I usually recommend about 2 letters of recommendation. I wouldn't do any more than 3 on any college application that you're applying for. And it's also kind of nice just to have letters of recommendation in your back pocket, especially as you apply for scholarships. So make sure that you ask your recommenders for those sooner rather than later, right? No teacher or counselor likes when you ask a week before you need it. So just be proactive in that process. They'll be more than happy to do that for you. And then if you're like, this sounds really great, but I think I want to get some college under my belt first and then transfer. Absolutely, that is something that you can do here. So usually what we're looking for, if you have at least 24 college credits and a 3.0 GPA, you'll be in really good shape and you'll still qualify for additional merit scholarships. If you have less than those 24 credits, we will need your high school transcripts. And if you had test scores that you wanted to submit, we would need those as well. But we actually have a transfer counselor right on campus, John Waldo. He'd be more than happy to work with you through that. A little bit more about financial aid. About 99% of our students do receive some sort of financial aid. Merit scholarships, like I mentioned, that's a really big one. Those range from $8,500 per year up to $17,500 per year. So that's something for the classes of 2021 and 2022 is just off of your GPA. Again, keep in mind co-op funds, that could be a really big difference. As we saw in the first slide, students typically make anywhere between $45,000 and I think $70,000 over the course of their Kettering education. That usually comes out to about $10,000 to $15,000 per year that you could put towards tuition, which is really nice. Of course, we highly recommend that everybody fills out the FAFSA. We do recommend, especially if you're applying for our marketing scholarships, that we do recommend that you submit that FAFSA. Some additional scholarships that we offer, we have a robotics scholarship, we have a DECA BPA and Future Business Leaders of America scholarship. If you're involved in mobility challenges, programming, if you're interested in pre-med, those are all really great opportunities. Those typically include an essay and 2 letters of recommendation to be considered for that. We also have a scholarship called the Kettering Recognizes Excellence Scholarship, or KRE. That's also an additional $5,000 per year for 5 years with an essay and 2 letters of recommendation. And then, of course, if you have any other scholarships in your communities, your schools, definitely apply for those. Those can be put towards your tuition too. I made a joke one time with a school. I'm like, there are scholarships out there for just being left-handed. And this kid goes, oh, actually, I applied for that scholarship and I got it. And I'm like, see, really, there's scholarships for everything. So there's no scholarship too big or too small. Take advantage of any opportunity you can to get involved in that. You could even reach out if you wanted. We have something called Scholarship Universe on our website. So our admitted students can actually make a profile, and then you can be matched with scholarships that students have received from Kettering in the past. They've kind of been vetted by our financial aid office, which is really nice. We do also have a couple different pre-college programs that have historically come with some sort of scholarship component. For example, AIM, Academically Interested Minds, that has been a 5-week-long camp. It will be virtual this year. It's for students of color that are going into their senior year. So that summer going into your senior year, where you take a bunch of different classes, you interact with Kettering students, professors, faculty members, and interact with other students interested in STEM too. That has historically come with a $5,000 per year scholarship towards Kettering. We also have a great program called LIGHTS, Lives Improved Through Engineering and Science. That is for young women that are kind of the same situation. Some are going into their senior year. It's a 2-week camp. Usually it's residential, virtual this year, that you will, again, take classes. They typically go on field trips. They do cool science projects. You get to interact with students and faculty. That too has historically come with a $5,000 per year scholarship. So if you are in that junior mindset and you think this is something that you're interested in, definitely recommend it. Pre-college programs are a great opportunity. If you're like, I love STEM, I just don't really know which avenue to go down. Pre-college may kind of help narrow down those choices for you. So whether you do it at Kettering or another institution, I highly recommend taking advantage of those opportunities. All right. So that, for the most part, wraps up my presentation. Again, my name is Bree Baker. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'll stick around here. If you have questions you'd like to put in the Q&A, I'd be more than happy to address any of those for you. I'd actually really be happy. I can share your actual admission counselor contact information too with you if you would like. So yeah, as far as next steps, if you're a senior, apply. If you're a junior, start checking out those virtual tours at colleges. Usually applications open up in August, and also check out the pre-college programs too. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to put those in the chat right now. I'll just put my information too in the chat in case you need it. All right, I'm not seeing any questions. Or really just college applications in general. I can answer questions about that too. I'd be more than happy to do that. Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for joining.
Want to reiterate, thank you for joining us for this session and listening to the great information that has been presented by Brianne about Kettering and in general about the college process. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, there are other sessions coming up in about 25 minutes or so. Make sure you sign up for one if you have not done so already at the same place you signed up for this one. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/cache. Once again, thank you very much, Brianne, for presenting today. And thank you all for attending. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. Take care.
Thank you so much.